In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, and this is the Washington football team preview show. I am Amit. That's my co-host, K-Dot. K-Dot, how was your bye week before we get into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Fucking phenomenal. Not having to worry about the Washington football team. I mean, it adds some years to my life. It does. So, I smoke a lot of cigarettes. I drink. I drive too fast. And I still think every time Washington doesn't play a game on a Sunday, I had at least a few days, right? It offsets maybe half a pack every time. I just feel rejuvenated. I watched Ted Lasso almost all day Sunday. And it was the first time I ever got into Ted Lasso. And if there's no show I've ever experienced to make me feel as good, and I don't quite know if it's the show or it's just I wasn't watching Washington. I don't know yet. So I still need to go back to the show and try to figure it out. I still think it's a good show, but the fact that I didn't have to worry about Washington just saved the whole day. I didn't really watch that much football. I didn't even watch that much. It was like, fuck it.
It's just a spiritual, relaxing day, right? This past Sunday, because we didn't have to worry about what's Rivera doing, who's the kicker, anything like that. Would love to talk to you more about Ted Lasso. We're not going to do spoilers here. Don't worry. Don't go away. But it is a great show. I highly recommend it. It sounds like K-Dot recommends it too. Would love to talk more about it. We're going to talk about it on the general show. My bye week, by the way, I went to a bunch of games. I went to the Wizards game. I went to Caps game, went to the Washington Spirit, and they all won. It was awesome. Again, just so relaxing. It was so nice. But we do have business once again this Sunday, and hopefully Taylor Heinicke plays well because it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that are coming to town, and hopefully it gives him some good vibes, remembers what brought him to the stage as our starter right now. So we're going to begin with that Tampa Bay Buccaneers overview, and then we're going to get into the injury report, very, very lengthy for the Tampa Bay Bucs. Then we're going to break down the Washington football team offense and Taylor Heinicke against that Tampa Bay defense, and then the Washington football team defense, see if they can get back against the Tampa Bay offense, and then we finish with predictions. Real quick, this show today brought to you by the Jacksonville Jaguars and Miami Dolphins for proving anything is possible in the NFL. Now, the thing is, we don't exist in Florida, so we don't have that random November advantage that apparently exists. Jacksonville knocking off Buffalo made no sense. Miami Dolphins dominating the entire game against the Baltimore Ravens makes no sense. So here we are doing a preview show. Let's jump into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 6-2 on the season. Thomas, Edward, Patrick, Brady Jr. is the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 44 years of age. He has won so many games, so many fucking games. 6 this season. He's the MVP frontrunner at age 44 as of right now. Outrageous. 25 touchdowns, 5 picks, over 67% completion percentage. He might be playing his best ball right now. K-Dot, what do you think of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I have them in the Super Bowl. My prediction going into the season was Tampa Bay would lose to the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl rematch. That's not necessarily looking that great right now. But I still have a lot of faith in Tampa Bay. They still have looked really good all season, and especially a Tampa Bay team that has been kind of banged up. I know I have Antonio Brown on a few fantasy football teams, and he has not been healthy at least the last few weeks on and off. Rob Gronkowski, I think he's only played 4 games this year. So, they haven't even been at full strength. You can still see how dominant the team they are. They got the 2 losses. You got the one against the Rams, and everybody has the Rams basically in the NFC Championship this year. And then the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints game, it wasn't the best game there by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it's one of those things where you look at a divisional matchup. The Saints are one of those sneaky teams that can really catch up on anybody, and the Saints aren't bad, right? So, it's even with the Jameis Winston injuries and Trevor, you look at Tampa Bay, they've run through everyone that's come in front of them, and the 2 losses are teams that you got to respect. I don't think the Washington football team makes that cut.
Yeah, that's fair. And in that Saints game, though, just to provide us with some hope, it was Trevor Siemian that finished the game at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, and he ended up playing, reasonably well. Again, it was supposed to be Jameis Winston. He started the game, got hurt. Trevor Siemian comes in. But yeah, you look at the rest of their schedule, they've done very, very well. They've beaten teams they're supposed to beat. And the LA Rams, like you said, people have them in the NFC Championship game. Before we jump into the injury report, K-Dot, I'm curious, Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr. now joining the LA Rams, showing they're all in as well, similar to what Tampa Bay did last season. And now they've brought everybody back. Does that influence your Tampa Bay Super Bowl pick here?
Sort of. I mean, it's one of those things where I had the Rams really in the conversation. I think me and you were talking about Matt Stafford for MVP. I know that's been something I've talked about like all offseason since he's been there. I think it's a wonderful move. And I'm with the Rams. I'm an old school George Allen type when it comes to the draft. I don't give a fuck. So they don't have, I think, draft pick for the next 7 fucking years. And I'm all on board with that. As long as you know what to do as far as restructuring the contracts and not set yourself up to failure. Like there is a high risk to this to a certain degree as far as when those contracts come due. But as far as this season going all in, even without those two guys, they were going to be in the conversation. To add those two and to think you got a Von Miller who's been there before. He wants to get back. And then you have an Odell Beckham who just wants to get there, and he's trying to also prove on a 1-year contract that he's still worth something. I mean, you look at the way that it ended there in Cleveland, he wasn't really showing anything. You talk about some guys who are going to be hungry. And if you got Cooper Kupp that could actually go more into a slot receiver role and have Odell kind of spread the field a bit, I think if I'm Matt Stafford, I'm loving this shit. And once again, we've got the boy wonder in Sean McVay, who's got another fucking toy in the arsenal on offense. I mean, that to me right now, you just got to love it, man. You got to love what the Rams are doing. It's just fun for football. And to think you got all these stars out there in L.A., Odell out there with LeBron and Russ and all, it just works. It makes sense. L.A. is just a fun team, right? It's just a fun fucking squad. They're just a sexy team. I love the uniforms. I love the colors, the stadiums, the shit. It's just like, it's just fun. I love the way they're building, man. I love the way they're building this thing.
I mean, how could you not? Again, they have got so many stars. Not to get too far off track here, but the NFC is setting up to be something beautiful. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, defending champions. You've got LA looking to win at home in the Super Bowl, similar to what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did last season. Then you've got Dallas. Dallas, I know they laid an egg last week, but they are good this year. Like, their defense is revitalized. I mean, and then, of course, the Green Bay Packers, who just casually went in, and I haven't even mentioned the Arizona Cardinals. There are so many good teams this season in the NFC. NFC playoffs are going to be a bloodbath, and I can't wait. Of just quality football. I'm really looking.
Great, man.
I am.
To see Green Bay out there, maybe in LA having to play, or just NFC teams. You got a lot of the frozen tundra. So I love everything that's happening. It's just setting up. This season has been one of the most fun seasons to watch as far as football. There have been some lame duck games every once in a while, but overall, if you're looking at just the excitement level, it's been a hell of a season. And last week, I did really good on picks, which is not a good thing because it didn't make any fucking sense last week.
Right, I was going to say last week was what were you doing? Yeah, it was
crap, absolute crapshoot. Like, the fact that I did well was like, oh, I just was picking shit randomly. Like, it's one of those things you really don't know what's going to happen. That game last night with the Dolphins Ravens game, and nobody could have told me it was going to end up like that.
No
one.
Absolutely impossible. Again, the NFL makes no sense, and that is why we're doing this one. So let's jump into the injury report, getting back to this Bucs Washington football team game. And K-Dot, these Tampa Bay Buccaneers are very, very banged up. So we talked about Tom Brady being the MVP frontrunner, but he is going to be without Antonio Brown. He is going to be without Rob Gronkowski. It's not necessarily news because he's been without them before. He may be without Chris Godwin, who is a game time decision, and he missed practice all week. Okay. Scotty Miller, who's on injured reserve, iffy to come back. He may, but if the three of those guys are missing, we can key in on Mike Evans. Well, you'd think we could double one guy and just sort of see what happens and see if Brady can. I know. Don't give me that look. I'm well aware. I'm on your side. I'm not sure we can make that adjustment, but those guys are going to be missing. And then on the defensive side, they could be missing Jason Pierre-Paul. They are missing some cornerbacks. They're missing Rashard Robinson. They're missing Carlton Davis. They're missing D. Delaney potentially. Sean Murphy-Bunting may not come back. So their skill position players and the players to guard those skill positions potentially all out. So you're playing potential second stringers on both sides. That means you could see Terry McLaurin. You know what? We're going to get into the offensive defense breakdown, but that's Tampa Bay. Jason Pierre-Paul may not play, by the way, as well. I mean, there's reasons for optimism here. You could be playing a Tampa Bay B team led by the GOAT. But with the Washington football team, Curtis Samuel, I'm not sure we're going to see him this year. He's out, groin injury. Benjamin St. Juste, this one hurts. He is actually out with, it was either an illness or a concussion, might have been both. But he is out for the game. He will not be playing. Montez Sweat was put on IR, so he's going to be missing at least 3 games starting this week. And Logan Thomas, not well enough to come back yet. It's going to be Ricky Seals-Jones at tight end. So that's your injury report. And now let's get into the Washington football team offense against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. K-Dot, let's start with you. Taylor Heinicke made his name in the wild card round last year against these Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He looks spectacular. Do you think we can see success for Taylor Heinicke, seeing familiar faces where he goes, you know what? I dogged these guys before. I know we lost because we were playing against the eventual Super Bowl champions. Can he get a spark seeing these uniforms again?
Can he? Yeah. Is it likable? Is it likable?
It's lovable.
Is it likely? No, it's not. I mean, that's the thing. Is like right now, if I'm looking at that Washington team that played Tampa Bay, I'm sorry, I don't recognize that as being the same team we watched this year. Like, if you're looking at that squad and as far as the confidence level that they were playing with, especially on defense, and being able to get Taylor the ball back in good spots to potentially try to put points up, we haven't done that for the majority of the year. And I'm sorry, the longer we've gone as far as Taylor Heinicke and at quarterback, the more you've had Ron Rivera, Scott Turner, or whoever in his ear kind of scrambling what makes him unique and what makes him special. I feel like early on in the season, we were seeing Taylor kind of play more loose. And as we've gone on, he's shown flashes in games of like, oh, that's the old Taylor. That's the Taylor we like. Or he might show us a quarter here and there, but just him playing that loose style of football that we were used to in that Tampa Bay game where he was just letting it rip. I haven't seen that necessarily consistently with Washington this year. I mean, you want to see that from Taylor. Like, I think that's going to be a very, very big part of this game. I mean, the number one thing that you want to do as far as this Tampa Bay defense, I mean, they're fucking stout. I mean, across the board. But what I want to look at, I'm looking at their rush defense. I'm trying to pull
3.9 yards per carry allowed. I mean, that's amongst the best in the NFL. It's hard to run on those fools.
And you've got an Antonio Gibson. As much as I like him, he hasn't gotten 100 yards once this year. So it's like, what are we going to be able to have some sort of balanced attack where those guys can let Taylor like go out there and ball? Like you'd think that usually when Taylor's having that really good game is when we have a bit of a balanced attack going, right? And I feel as though if we can't get the running game going and Taylor's just back there letting it rip and getting too aggressive with it, there's a difference between getting desperate compared to playing loose, right? And when he plays desperate is when we get some of those dumb balls. It's a la what Favre used to do in that Green Bay jersey early on. And Taylor does not have the same abilities that Favre does have. So yeah. It's weird. I just think that for his confidence, we got to start this game early. We got to get on the board early. We cannot be behind. I think the moment we get behind is the moment you get to see the dejection sort of set in for this football team. And I think everybody kind of knows that everybody's expecting Tampa Bay to wash us. And if we don't show that we're in this thing, I think it's one of those things that they can pack it up real early.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. Here's what I'd say. I mean, we've talked about this where Ron Rivera seems to be shifting the goalposts, stuff like that. I do think Taylor Heinicke does have a chance to play himself into more money, whether it's here, whether it's somewhere else. I know it's a 2-year, $4.75 million deal. If he plays lights out against this Tampa Bay defense, this reeling Tampa Bay defense. Now, they have Levante David. They have Shaq Barrett. It's not like they have nobodies. They're still good. But he was doing it against some of these guys last time out. So I think he can do it again. And I think he has an opportunity to stake his claim to continue starting because Kyle Allen is now getting increasingly healthy. And we may just want to see what we have over there because he looked decent before he got hurt last season. So for Taylor, there is stuff on the line here. He can play really, really well against a banged up secondary. He is more than capable of doing so. So let Taylor be Taylor. Let Heinicke be Heinicke. Find McLaurin. Find De'Ami Brown, who's questionable for the game, by the way. But find Cam Sims. find your guys. Find them because you can. You've done it before. You can do it again. You had the bye week to review things. You had your 5-6 game stretch of, okay, I started. How was that? Hopefully there was some reflection, and hopefully he goes, you know what? I'm at my best when I'm loose. Do whatever you can to make him loose because it is hard to run against this team, as you had mentioned. Gibson, going to have a tough time. McKissick, going to have a tough time. Jared Patterson, he's a rookie. He might get a couple nice runs. You saw Khalil Herbert for the Chicago Bears with a very nice day against this Tampa Bay defense. So maybe because he's a rookie, it can help, but it's going to be tough. It's going to fall on Taylor, but I think he can do it. I really do.
I'm looking at Taylor's games, and I think the first thing that jumped out to me was the last 2 games that we played. Going through this season, weeks 1 through 6, Taylor was sacked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times total. He got sacked 5 times in the Denver game. He got sacked 4 times in Green Bay. The stat lines, I mean, he's throwing over 60%, but even 268, 270 as far as the yardage, it's just not anything special necessarily. And I'm sorry, the Tampa Bay defense, I think, is better than Green Bay's or Denver's. Like, it's just one of those things where, I mean, if we can't have the balanced attack, I don't know. Like, you're really putting a lot of weight on those injuries happening in the secondary as far as him lighting it up. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it takes. Or maybe you get Ron Rivera and those guys that just tell him to go out there and play. But I think the longer we go on, the more I'm actually starting to question Ron Rivera and the things that he's doing. And I don't want to. I want to trust Ron, but I also think signing Joey Slye 3 days ago when you've had the fucking it's been a bye week and you sign him this late before a game starts. I don't really get it. But right, they signed him on the 9th. We've had the bye. I mean, I didn't even see that he was coming in until a couple days ago. I mean, like Chris Blewett, did he suck that much during the bye? Or do we already know what we had?
You know, the thing about that is I think we just literally took a whole week off. So I think in terms of front office, practice, they were talking about that Wednesday practice that was going to happen, and then it didn't. I think the entire organization took a week off, and I personally have no problem with that. I think the first thing they did when they came back was, hey, good morning, how are you? Showed their cup of coffee, et cetera, and said, oh, by the way, we need to get the fuck away from Chris Blewett. And then we did. And then all of a sudden you have Joey Slye here. I think that's what happened. I think if we had a game this past Sunday, Joey Slye would have been the kicker the moment he was let go by San Francisco. Yeah, I really think that's what it would have been. His
name would have been all over the fucking Twitter about how many kicks he missed.
Or got blocked. What do you have, 3 block kicks in 2 games?
He's kicking it 6 inches off the ground every fucking time. Like, it's – I don't know. I will say that I do like the Joey Slye thing. I think he's got an upside, but – I don't know. The more we go along with this team, the more I'm not sure if it's just this organizational curse or if it's, all right, is Ron really the guy? Is anybody ever going to be the guy as long as the top guys in charge?
We have had we've had Mike Shanahan here. We've had Marty Schottenheimer here. We've had now Ron Rivera here. I mean, you're talking about some pretty legitimate NFL head coaches, and they've always sort of been seen as the problem at times. It's the guy above him. I mean, That's the curse. So long as these stories keep coming out, Ron was brought to right the ship from a cultural perspective, and he's done as close to a great job as possible. And I mean, credit to Jason Wright as well, Julie Donaldson, everybody else that has come into leadership positions. But we know the problem. We talked about it. We know the problem. It's just very, very difficult to navigate. Winning cures all. It really does. If you get a bright young mind, I'm not advocating Ron lose his job right now, just to be clear. I'm just saying that this is what it would take is some sort of innovation, whether it be from Ron or somebody else, and get this thing going. And that's why I think letting Taylor be Taylor is your best shot at it. So that's my key on offense, is just let that be, because I don't think it's going to be easy to run on these guys. Let's flip the script. Let's talk about the defense. Washington football team defense against the Tampa Bay offense. The Tampa Bay offense, number 1 in points. 32 points per game, I want to say. They are incredible. Now, again, they could be missing those weapons. You could see a little more Gio Bernard. You could see Tyler Johnson. They're high on him. They've got guys. They've still got guys. So it's not like Brady's going to be throwing to nobody. Mike Evans is a really, really good wide receiver. So it's going to be hard to slow them down. And I'll kick this one off, K-Dot. My key is watch the Miami Dolphins and watch the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not kidding. On defense, they were not supposed to shut down Baltimore and Buffalo, respectively. They had home games with not terrific attendance, And they found a way to dig deep, look themselves in the mirror, and go, we need to step up. At the end of the day, we need to tackle. At the end of the day, we need to get after the quarterback. And what did you see? You saw Miami get after Lamar. Lamar is he is the most elusive quarterback in the NFL. Maybe Kyler. But you're talking about those two as 1A, 1B. That's the reality of the situation. They got after him. Josh Allen, MVP candidate until he went to Jacksonville and played the other Josh Allen, who single-handedly apparently changed that game on his own. Sack, forced fumble, interception. What? Like, it's just going to take one of those games. That, to me, we've said have some pride. You've had 2 weeks off. People are questioning Chase Young. Chase Young's starting to get a bit chirpy with the media, and I don't blame him, okay? But it's time to step up, and let's talk about how good you guys are. We took a couple nice little steps in our last couple of games. Against Denver, held them to 17. That's good, okay? Dallas just gave up 30 to them. It's good. Keep the momentum going. And Tom ran a 5.2 when he was 20. What do you think he runs now? Probably a 4.7. Dude eats only avocado ice cream or whatever. But, K-Dot, that's my key. Watch the bad teams dominate really good teams because that means you can do it too. That's the blueprint.
Yeah, okay. I think the Miami Dolphins Baltimore thing, I think maybe you have a case, and maybe this case works here with this game, is you have a team that overlooks the opponent. And I think there's a chance maybe Tampa Bay does that. I just don't. Tom Brady's not usually a guy who runs a team that overlooks anyone. So that's something that usually you see that from you just don't usually see that from a Tom Brady team. They come prepared every single fucking week. And I don't think Tom's going to do. Not to mention, I mean, you kind of say the Chase Young curse ever since he said that little comment about Brady last season. He's not looked the same since that time. Just saying. Look, man, it's Jonathan Allen's becoming on as the season is progressing, and I think he's been the mainstay on that defensive line that's looked great. Montez Sweat, Chase Young. I saw somebody put down the stat line of Chase Young's games up until now and Brian Arakpo's stats until now. Not a good look for Chase. It's just there's certain – I don't know, man. Like, if I'm looking for positives on the defense, all right, the defensive line has been doing pretty good. We've been doing all right against the run. I think that we have to continue to do good against the run. Landon Collins looks good at linebacker. He looks really good at linebacker. I'm glad after I heard the trade rumors that we're trying to get rid of him, that it did not come to fruition, because I was like, why in the world would you get rid of this guy now when he's clearly shown this is his position? Like, he's good at this position. He looked better than I've seen him in a very long time playing at the linebacker. If we can continue to do what we do as far as limiting the run and getting pressure with the front four and Landon off some of those blitzes, because Landon looks really fast off the side. I mean, he's small. He's smaller than the other linebackers go, so he's quick. If they do the blitzes, they get to Tom Brady and they start hitting Tom. That's the one thing you always know about Tom. If you hit him, you got a chance. We have to hit him. I have no faith in the secondary. I don't give a shit. Like, our secondary is not stopping anything. There's no chance. It's not happening.
That's who I'm referring to. That's the group I'm referring to as saying watch Miami and watch Jacksonville, because yes, while their defensive lines and linebackers via blitzing got through to those quarterbacks, their secondary stepped up big time.
Yeah, they have Xavier Howard and fucking Byron Jones. We've got William Jackson, who's overpaid and
what about Jacksonville?
Not looking good. Huh?
What about Jacksonville? Name like one or two guys in their secondary.
I can't name anyone.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, fair enough. That's a good point. But
and I also think that was more of a Josh Allen thing not to mention the winning Josh Allen had a game of a goddamn lifetime.
He really did.
Come on. He's not playing from the secondary. He had the fucking game of a lifetime, all right? If Landon Collins could put together a Josh Allen day, okay, we're in it. But I'm sorry, like, Bama St. Juice, who I've been trying to give credit to, and I think he actually looks promising as a corner, is still a rookie corner. He's going to get burnt. It happens, period. It happened last week. He's going to get burnt. Like, that's one of those growing pains that you get when you're a young corner. That's why you look at, like, fucking Diggs for Dallas right now. He didn't look this way until now, and he's just playing aggressive as shit and getting these picks, even though the streak is finally over a few weeks ago. Look, we have to hit Tom. Like, it's basically like it's simplistic and it's dumb, and I sound like Booger McFarlane trying to give play-by-play or trying to give you insight. Hit Tom. Stop the run. You do that, anything's possible.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it is the same stuff over and over, but it's because that shit works. I mean, there's only so much you could say. My thing is have some pride, and your thing is, stop the run and hit the QB. It makes a lot of sense. I do think this defense is capable, though. I really do, because you see them last season. I know they didn't play some of the best QBs, but they are more than capable, in my opinion. It is a talented front.
When are we going to see it?
Look, I don't know. I'm hoping to see it this week.
I'm just saying, we're halfway through the season, and we're looking at these games, and the most we could say is Jonathan Allen has been getting better, right? As far as
Thank God we signed him before the season.
Thank you, Jesus. But the second best guy on the defensive line to me is like Montez, and he's not playing.
Yeah.
All right, then who else is going to step up? Matt Ioannidis, he hasn't looked the same since he's come back. Deron Payne has shown flashes at times on the defensive line. He's still a solid fucking guy.
Great game against Buffalo.
Chase Young is still playing too fast. He's not doing enough to kind of get up in the pocket as much as he's running past. In the secondary, I'm sorry, they have not gotten better over the course of the season to me. The linebacker position has gotten better over the last couple of weeks when they've made the adjustments to getting more steps for Jamin and getting Landon Collins playing linebacker. But, I mean, these are very, very small incremental changes. We're waiting for a light switch to recognize this defense from last year. Nothing has come. We've seen backup quarterbacks. We've seen top talent quarterbacks. We've seen everything. We've seen terrible teams that we've come up against. We've seen great teams that we've come up against. Nothing has been the light switch. Is it going to be that they're going to remember, oh, shit, I remember Tampa Bay last year, and it just clicks?
I better not, because Tampa Bay lit us up last year.
So I do not see where it is that we're looking for. At this point, you can't keep waiting for the light to switch on.
I agree. You cannot keep waiting for the light to switch on. I think it's our job here to figure out, is it going to switch on? And if so, when? And I actually think, given how banged up Tampa Bay is, this is an opportunity for it to switch on. So it's my optimism speaking. We also had our bye week. They had theirs, and this is how they came out of it. With half their team. And how we came out of it was, yes, we lost Montez, and yes, Logan Thomas isn't ready. Curtis Samuel, again, probably not going to play this year. We should shut him down. There's really no reason why we have to continue playing this game. We
never activated him that time.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. I mean, that's beside the point. That is beside the point. But I'm thinking that this is an opportunity, because we had the bye week, because Del Rio, we've seen this happen to many teams before, where they have a bye week and all of a sudden they come out with a different energy, a different game plan. And I do think, we talked about it before the season, we love Ron Rivera in terms of his defensive mindset and what he did in the league as a player as well. We love Jack Del Rio. Last season it looked good. So he's not someone unfamiliar with the bye week. He's not someone unfamiliar with having a subpar defense. He's normally really, really good, but it's happened before, and ultimately it prevails. We have too many good guys on that defense, including the defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, that I do think this is an opportunity at home where we could be overlooked. And why don't we get to the prediction now? Where we could be overlooked and we could sneak one in. So, K-Dot, what I'm going to do here is, I have a line. I have an over-under. I am going to give you a line, whether it's true or false, and you got to tell me whether I'm telling you the truth. Okay? So we're going to begin with a very easy one. Tampa Bay -3.5. Do you think that's real? Okay, cool.
No.
I'm going to crank it up. Tampa Bay -11.
No.
No? Tampa Bay -8.5.
No.
No? Where do you think it is?
It's got to be double digits, and I'm thinking 13-14.
13-14.
I think this on paper looks like it's going to be, come on. Unless Vegas will give me that much credit as far as the fucking injuries go. It's got to be a 2-touchdown game, man. At least that's what I'm thinking of it as.
10.
No shit.
Tampa Bay 10. That is the line. The over-under is set at 51. Okay. So I believe that implied total. Yeah, I'll put myself on the spot here. Looking at Tampa Bay 31, Washington 21. That gets you to around 52. 30.5, 20.5. It gets you to 51. So that's the implied total, is that Tampa Bay is going to put up around what they normally put up. Okay. And that puts us a little down from what we're used to putting up, which was around 24 a couple of weeks ago. I didn't check it recently. What's your prediction?
So this is the thing, is that what you just did before we got into this, as far as the line thing, is do what every Washington fan does, which is give me fucking hope, you piece of shit. So looking at like last year, and you're right, like last year at one point we were 2-7, and then we made the playoffs, right? And then if you look at that last season, but I'm looking through last season's schedule compared to what it is we have this year and all of the divisional games that we have, I just don't have the same faith. I'm sorry. I can't do it. They haven't shown me anything that makes me think I can hang my hat on. I mean, they didn't show me anything last year. They just happen to have it. So I guess I'll be pleasantly surprised when we pull it together. This game, I mean, I just think it has all the makings of an absolute fucking rout. Give me Tampa Bay 40, Washington 17.
Oh, my Lord. All right. Tampa Bay 40, Washington 17. Fuck it. I'm picking Washington. I do think that you've seen double-digit favorites recently. K-Dot, stay with me. You've seen double-digit favorites fall apart. Look the other way a little bit. I understand it's Tom. I understand he's going to say the stuff he's going to need to say. He also said with Peyton and Eli that he was not looking forward to this game because he was looking up the forecast. He's an old man. And I think we're actually going to sneak this one. I think some sort of freaky shit's going to happen at FedEx. It's going to be weird. Washington 23, Tampa Bay 21. No one's going to know what happened. It's going to be crazy. And that is what I am sticking with. I think it's just going to be a wild game. I can't even tell you how I got to 23. I can't tell you how Washington gets to 23. You're just going to have to tune in 1 p.m. Eastern time on Fox to see how it happens, because 23-21 is a lock. Washington football team going to move up in the win column. Why are you shaking your head? What's that about?
I'm shaking my head because you're like, that's the thing that I don't know what this sickness is of being the fan of this team is, right? Like you say that, and like it's no matter how much I'm trying to hide it, I'm starting to feel like, oh man, maybe they will win this game. Maybe it is where, like, oh, they are injured. I mean, it's after the bye. We could wake up. Chase is angry. Like, oh, it can make sense. No, it doesn't make any goddamn sense of it.
Isn't the human mind fascinating, K-Dot?
It sucks. No. It doesn't make sense. It shouldn't happen. We shouldn't win this game. Period. We're not a good football team yet.
I'm just saying I can't wait to text you when we're winning. And when we win this game, 23-21.
Don't give me hope this week. I'm thinking, like, I'm plotting now. You talked about, like, what it is you did this weekend. I'm thinking I'm going to get a Alito's pizza. No worries. I'm worried more about my fantasy football team, on Sunday than I am Washington. You planted the seed. You planted the fucking seed.
Hey, that's what we're here to do, is provide some cheer, provide some optimism as well. I have not seen an injury report this extensive against a team we played in a very, very long time. I take pride in this injury report here, K-Dot.
Got that injury report. We're not better than Chicago. 38-3. We're not better than Chicago. They beat the shit out of Chicago.
Game's here. It's not in Tampa. It's cold up here. Brady can't do it anymore. It's cold. They're 2-2 on the road. LA.
Hold on. It's not cold up here. Number one. It is not.
For him, it might be. He's used to an 80+ right now.
Right. What the fuck are you talking right now? He played his entire career in fucking Boston.
All right. I'm checking. I know, but he was talking about how he's no longer used to it. And I believe
I get it, but I mean, you can still turn that shit all back on. Like,
I'm checking the weather. I'm checking the weather in DC. This is how prepped we are. All right, let's see. Tomorrow, no, I need the 10-day. This is thrilling. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for sticking with us here. Okay. Hey, the high on Sunday, 53, low 40. At 50 at kickoff. That's actually kind of nice.
It's freezing. Tom's not gonna know what to do. His arthritis is gonna be flaring out, right? Yeah, that's what's happening.
Okay, well, how about this? When the fuck does he slow down? And we've had every other team.
You're going so far right now in trying to convince me the Washington's going to win. You're asking when is Tom Brady going to slow down? Yeah, it'll be this week against our team. That's when he'll start to decline. Fuck out of here, man. It doesn't work that way.
Oh, my God. I just thought of it. 23-21, right, is what I said? Joey Sly, 50-yard game winner. That's what's going to happen as well. That place is going to be electric.
To the window, to the walls, I am jizzing all over the fucking apartment if that fucking happens. I'm sorry. Like, it shouldn't. Once again, it shouldn't. It's the analogy I always give, right? It's like I put a pot of gold at the other end of the highway, blindfold you, tell you to run across, grab the pot of gold. If you get it, congratulations, you're rich. But you also ran across a busy highway with a fucking blindfold on. You made the wrong decision. It just worked out for you. Picking Washington right now is the wrong decision. It just might happen to work out, but it shouldn't work out. If it does work out, we're in the end times.
Okay, so we're almost hoping this doesn't happen now.
If it does happen, I'm kind of worried. I need to get my orders. The apocalypse is here.
Okay. This show is devolving, and that's on me. This is District Divided. This is the Washington Football Team preview show. I am Amit. That's my co-host, K-Dot. We had a blast. I hope you guys did too. Enjoy the game on Sunday, and look forward to that Washington Football Team victory, 23-21 once again. Or you could just go with K-Dot's timeline of 40-17. If his happens, you can, I guess, be prepared for it.
Kill your hope. Hope is wrong here for this team. No hope. Keep your sanity. Keep your heart to you, sirs and ladies. Do what you need to do to protect your own light. Okay? Protect your lights.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you next week.